Okay, today today is March 5th, 2018. This is my vlog for the day. And I'm feeling a little irpy, which is to say I feel like I ate probably more than I should have. I went out to a Mexican place for lunch and I had some leftover Hungarian goulash for dinner. And I have noticed a disturbing trend in the amount of acid my stomach produces when I go to Ubatuba, down in Redmond for lunch. And even though I really like their food, I may have to just stop because it's not very good for my system. Oh, Leo is making a lot of noise. Let's see if he wants to be on camera tonight. Let's see here. Well, guess what, bucko? No, you're not getting under the bed tonight. You're gonna sit here with me. Yep. Maybe this will teach you not to wind up the door. But probably not. Okay, let's see here. Alright, so I'm not going to talk much about this guy tonight. We're going to talk about me. A few years ago, actually quite a few years ago now, probably close to 8 or 9, I started having what I described to the doctor as heart palpitations. I would go and I would get lunch. Sometimes I wouldn't even be getting lunch, I'd be getting breakfast. And by the afternoon, I felt like my heart was skipping a beat in my chest. It was a very scary sensation. I wasn't even 30 years old, and this was happening to me, and I was wondering, do I have some sort of heart condition? There's been a history of heart disease in my family, starting with my grandfather, who had at least one heart attack that I'm aware of. And it's something that I've sort of tried to keep track of in my own small way throughout my life. So having this happen to me was distressing, to say the least. Well, at the time, I didn't have super great health insurance, and I didn't know how to use it. I'd moved out of my parents' place, and I didn't want to worry them. I didn't want to call them and tell them what was happening until I had a better idea. So I found a free clinic nearby, and I had the guy check me out. A nice doctor, pleasant fellow, especially considering he was basically working for free. And he took a look at me, he listened to my heart, told me to breathe in and breathe out, and then he started asking me about my diet. And I said, well, I eat a lot of burgers, I eat a lot of fast food, I eat a lot of greasy fries and all sorts of nasty stuff, because at the time I was a 20-something who'd only been out of college for 2 or 3 years. And he was like, oh, okay, you have acid reflux. And I was like, what? Acid reflux, isn't that something the guys in their 50s get? And doesn't it sound like a heart attack when you describe it to people? And he's like, mm-hmm. So what was actually happening, he didn't take any specific tests, but I'll tell you why I don't think he needed to. He thought what I was describing as heart palpitations were more likely to be traces of acid going up my esophagus, which gave the impression of something like doing something. Oh, 1 second. No, you damn cat. I let you in, and this is what you do? Right in the middle of the vlog, too. Never again. You were going to wait outside for the rest of the time. Yeah, well, you got your hands stuck. You got your claws stuck. This is what happens when you try and crawl under a bed that isn't yours, it isn't meant to be slept in by you. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. worst vlog ever. Talking about acid reflux only being interrupted by a cat that's trying to crawl under a quilt. Oh, where was I? So, what was happening was that the acid was having an effect on my esophagus. And I said, well, Doc, what do I do? He said, Tums, for starters, should probably help because that's going to lower the amount of acid and it's going to neutralize acid in the esophagus on the way down. The next thing you're going to do is stop eating so much goddamn greasy food. I think he actually said goddamn greasy food too. He was, I think he was just a touch peeved that this healthy-ish young man, or a young man in his prime, was coming in and complaining of a heart condition that he almost certainly didn't have because he was eating crap food and he should stop. So that's what he told me. He said, you need to eat some sandwiches and soup and stuff without grease, stuff that isn't made in a fryer, and you need to make that a regular part of your diet. So I said, oh, right. I shouldn't eat McDonald's every day. I wasn't eating McDonald's every day. I was splicing it up with Taco Bell every now and then. But I took it to heart. I started getting sandwiches at delis and eating Subway, which is fast food and not the best sub places around. But sadly, they've managed to put all the other sub places I can think of out of business. But I started limiting the amount of fast food that I was consuming. You know, maybe for a full month I didn't have any, and then after that I started having it, you know, once or twice a week. And I still have it now more than I should, as evidenced by today. But hilariously, Uba's isn't even a fast food place. They cook their food on a regular, well, they cook it on a grill, but it's not like a greasy spoon kind of a thing. But there's something in the combination of minted rice and black beans and cheese enchilada that really ruined me today, and I'm probably going to avoid eating there in the future just to be on the safe side. Of course, I'll probably come back in 3 or 4 months and say that this has happened again because I just thought, oh, maybe it was a one-time thing. But that's one of the beauties of a vlog, is that you can go back and look at all the stupid stuff you've said on the internet forever, or at least as long as YouTube has servers with all this content saved on it. I should note that I'm not saving these videos. I'm trying to delete them to make sure I have space on the various drives of my computers. So if YouTube ever does go down, these videos are going to go with it. And my whole idea for something that's going to outlast me is going to go away. But nothing's really permanent. Maybe nothing needs to be. But I do know what needs to happen, is I need to eat less junk. Well, I'm going to have to go apologize to my cat and let him sit in my lap and pet him, since I just bodily threw him out the door. But this has been the vlog of Eric Spornitz, and today wasn't great, but tomorrow will be better.